This is a Headgum podcast.
And I don't even care to shake these zipper blues. And we don't know just where our bones will rest. To dust, I guess, forgotten and absorbed into the earth below. That is actually, I should start from the top. Because, you know, my listeners, I want this to stay in. This is going to stay in. Because this is a really hard song to sing. Shake down 1979. How does he say that? 1979.
There's a whine. 1979. He's like almost Bob Dylaning it.
The cool kids have never had the time. Yeah, that's you do need to sing it like Bob Dylan in order for it to make sense.
I should probably tell you that I chose that song because I wrote about it for one of my college application essays about how meaningful it was to me to listen to that song after seeing the Smashing Pumpkins. Like, we drove to go see them in a different town. We drove back. I was listening to that song again, and I wrote that essay, and I did not get a scholarship.
We're going to get into that in a little bit. Okay, my horrific version of 1979, probably one of the worst spoken words I've done on the show. And that's huge. That's 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins, an amazing song. I love the Smashing Pumpkins. Highly suggest listening to it. I'm going to update my Spotify playlist that I created for this show. I haven't updated it in a long time, but I put everyone's song in it. And I'm going to bring that back, even though I think 5 people are subscribed to it. But you know what? God bless those 5 people.
If you put it on, I'll subscribe.
There you go.
Although I hear that there's like a lot of Black Eyed Peas.
On it?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of Black Eyed Peas on it?
I would just guess because they're always popular.
No, I can tell you. I can go to the Spotify playlist and tell you what's on it.
You're telling me that this is not a pro Black Eyed Peas show?
No. Let's see. We actually have a really good mix. Senior Superlatives. I have 12 followers on this playlist. I've only ever advertised it once though. So like I don't think anyone, Tevi, my producer, doesn't even know it exists. We have everything from Starships by Nicki Minaj to Cute Without the E by Taking Back Sunday to New Slang by The Shins to Money Ain't a Thing by Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri to Break the Ice by Britney Spears. I mean, we have a lot. We have like Zero by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. We have I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance. We have Every Time We Touch by Cascada. We have Defying Gravity from Wicked. I mean, there's a lot on this playlist that shouldn't be missed. And I need to add to it because we have way more songs now. Okay, so I know you guys are thinking, what year are we in if we're listening to the Smashing Pumpkins? We're in the year 1997. And to just kind of jog everyone's memory, to paint the picture as to what was going on in the world in 1997, and this is because specific to my guests today, I'm going to read you the top box office movies of 1997. And they are very good. Obviously, I bet you can guess the number 1 movie of 1997. You know.
Was it Batman and Robin?
No.
What was it?
You know this. Think.
Oh, was it Titanic?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That would make sense because I saw this movie 4 times at the theater in high school.
There you go. And then we have classic G.I. Jane, which was also huge.
That was number 2?
No, it's not number 2.
Wow.
But number 1 was Titanic. And then
number 2 is probably Titanic. And maybe number 3.
Yeah, it was also Titanic. G.I. Jane, The Game. I love that movie. Good Will Hunting. Amazing film. One of my favorites, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, came out that year. The Fifth Element, another one of my favorites, came out that year. Obviously, Batman and Robin. Lost World, Jurassic Park. Devil's Advocate. Anastasia, the animated feature, which I did see in theaters. Baps, one of my favorite films. As Good as It Gets, another one of my favorite films. I mean, Good Burger, Jackie Brown, Austin Powers came out in 1997. Come on. And to just kind of round this out, wow, so many good ones. I'm just going to round this out in the last 5 that came out, okay? Con Air, Scream 2, Air Force One, Liar Liar, and My Best Friend's Wedding.
That's actually stellar. I'm very proud.
Unbelievable year. And where were we when all of these films were coming out? We were in San Antonio, Texas. And who are we? We are Amy Nicholson. Amy. Oh, what a thrill to have you on the show.
Good, it is a thrill to be here.
I mean, tell me what was going on with you in 1997. I feel like that breath, we don't have that anymore. We don't have all of those movies came out in the theater. They were all so different. Some were so crazy. So many different genres. I wish that we were still in that time with movies.
I totally agree. And I think about it all the time because part of why I think that moment was so special for movies is because you would kind of just show up to the theater and see whatever. Do you remember that feeling?
Yes, you go and you'd be like, what's playing around this time?
Exactly. You'd be like, oh man, I hope I get to see Titanic. But if Titanic is sold out, oh well. You didn't know it was sold
Liar.
out. Exactly. So they were able to make other films that people would spill over and go see. Mm-hmm. My whole high school was getting dropped off at the movie theater with my friends. And we would just walk around the mall and then we'd go see whatever was playing. And usually, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie we wanted to see was, sold out. Mm-hmm. So then we'd go see Stargate, or we'd go see just something absolutely random. And so my film history as a child was just seeing whatever was not popular that weekend.
Yeah.
But those movies made money, too. So they kept making them because people like me, just teenagers, would go buy them.
You'd get the spillover.
Exactly. We don't have spillover anymore. You just pick out your theater, you pick out your time, you pick out your seats, and you don't discover anything by accident.
No.
I think it's a huge problem.
It's
but every
sad.
Time on this.
I do feel like peak movie going was in the 90s. I feel like that's when it was so fun. But maybe I just feel that way because that's when I was a kid and that's what I'm most nostalgic for. But I don't know. I kind of feel like then IMAX and all of that shit. And then I hate IMAX. I hate 3D. I hate wearing glasses. I hate seeing things that wrap around. It makes me nauseous. So I just like a good old fashioned movie going experience.
I am with you.
Yeah.
And I agree. So many of my memories from that period are just wonderful. It was exciting to go see Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I was 13 maybe when that movie came out, and it just felt like the most exciting thing in the world that suddenly you knew there was a new important film by a new important filmmaker.
Yeah.
And my parents bought me the little paperback screenplay and I studied it.
That's so sweet. Your parents bought you that paperback screenplay?
I was kind of spoiled.
I mean, I was going to say, ahead of all paperback screenplays, they were like, here, 13-year-old child, here's Pulp Fiction.
They were really weird about what they censored. I read every Stephen King book.
Yep.
But then one day, my dad was like, I won't let you own the cassette tape of Use Your Illusion by Guns N' Roses. And then he went through and he censored out all the swear words in the liner notes because, cassettes used to have all the lyrics. Right. And he inked them all out. And then he gave it back to me. And that was the only time in my life they censored any of my media.
Is he still alive?
No, he's not. Yeah, he died when I was in college.
My mom died when I was in college.
It's weird, isn't it? Mm-hmm. When nobody knows what to say to you.
Yeah. It's always a tough age, no matter what. But, it's a very particular age to lose a parent. I was 21, so I was, at the end of college.
Same. I was a senior, yeah.
Yeah. It's a strange time.
Yeah. Yeah, because people don't talk about it with you. Or that was at least my experience.
No,
it was
me too.
Nobody knew what to say. So they were like...
No, I was like, let's do more Coke and get wasted. That's was my approach.
Oh my God. I was like, let's skip class and go drink beer and eat clam strips.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't do clam strips, but I would have loved to skip class with you and eat clam strips.
They were $2 at this bar nearby.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were good. Yeah, they're just fried.
Was this in Texas?
This was in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Wow, clam strips in Oklahoma.
Definitely Cisco frozen.
Oh
Definitely had been in a freezer.
Bold.
I
love that.
Devil make what?
Why not?
What our parent just died. We had nothing to live for.
Nothing to lose. Okay. Well, when we link up with our deceased parents one day, you will need to ask your dad in the afterlife why he chose to censor those lyrics. Because to me, that's whatever you were going through in your adolescence, your dad had some kind of a break where he was like, this is the problem. Yeah. This is how I'm going to make sure my child is in a complete monster by censoring these lyrics.
It's definitely not reading it, where
No.
where children have a lot of sex.
And
It's
they fuck and they
Yeah.
also like get eaten by a clown.
That's fine. But Guns N' Roses, Patience,
Yeah.
well, that wasn't on that album.
Well-
I never even really listened to that cassette. I mean, there was like 2 good songs on it. So
Well, I need to know, since this is about high school, what were you like in high school? What was the vibe in high school? What was your high school like? What were you into? And just tell me everything.
totally. Well, I didn't talk my first month of high school because
What?
I was like the new kid. I should say I went to public school my whole life.
Mhm.
And then when I was a freshman, my parents decided they were going to move me to like an all-girls Catholic private school.
Ooh, intense.
Yeah, and I was really opposed, like very opposed. And they kind of tricked me into it.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, you don't have to go. We just want you to take the entrance exam so you can know how well you did on the entrance exam. And then you don't have to go, which shouldn't work, I guess, on most kids.
Right.
But I liked taking standardized tests when I was little because I just was like,
were you good at them?
yeah, my mom used to write them. So she was always making me take
Wow.
standardized tests. So I just loved taking them.
Wow. Okay. You always wonder. I literally talked about this past weekend. Somehow we were talking about the SATs. And now a lot of schools are making it optional. Like you can share or not share your standardized test scores, which I'm kind of like, fuck you. Like that's not fair.
I don't think it is either. I think the SAT has really started like chasing trends that are just wrong.
Yeah.
The SAT, to me, I'm going to be old school about it. Like the 90s SAT was like the sweet SAT,
Yeah.
where it had analogies,
Mm-hmm.
where you like really had to know how you thought. Like analogies were there just to test your vocabulary, but also can you make associations?
Mm-hmm.
Can you be a flexible thinker? Like how creative are you? They were there to test your brain power and not like your kind of rote memorization stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the SAT got more and more into like making it coachable,
Mm-hmm.
writing this essay. I used
Yeah.
to be an SAT tutor for rich kids when I first moved here. So like
Whoa.
teaching them how to do well. And it got more biased when they tried to be more practical.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I thought it worked best as just like a creativity analogy test.
I mean, I was talking about how I'm like, who even writes standardized tests? I literally was
My
like,
mom.
that's insane. Did
Yeah.
she write SATs?
She did. Yeah, she used to work for a company called Harcourt Brace Jovanovich. They did like textbooks and the SAT.
Whoa.
And that's why we moved to Texas when I was a little kid because they had a big factory there. She was a educational psychologist,
Uh-huh.
which means like she studied how kids think and learn. Not like
That's
their
so cool.
trauma, but like
Right.
how are they learning things?
Right.
So I was like a test subject for her most of my life.
Cool.
Like do this SAT when I was 5.
Wow. So when
Yeah.
it came time for you to take your SATs,
I aced it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you had to get a perfect score.
I did. Well, not in math, but I.
Like what? Like if it was do you remember your score?
Oh yeah, I'm a real nerd like that.
What was your score?
I got a 1530, so I like
Oh
aced
my
English,
God.
and then got a 730 in math. Which I get to talk about that now. Oh, I nobody ever gets to. I never get.
No,
asked
you get
about
to.
that.
This is what this
It makes
whole
me so
podcast
happy.
is for. You get to talk
Yeah.
about all of the things that we suppress from high school. Wow, did you
Oh,
take?
yeah.
Did you take? It wasn't very popular when you graduated, but it became more popular, like my year or around the early mid 2000s to take the ACT.
Yeah, I never even heard of that
Yeah.
until I went to college, and then like half of my people took ACT. So I always kind of wish I would have known what I would have gotten on that.
Like the ACT was the test for me because there was a science section.
Ooh.
And I was so bad at math. Like I was truly
Yeah.
something was broken in my brain. I like could not compute math. But for some reason, like science worked for me, which my teachers were always like, how are you good at science and then not good at math? Like it usually goes together.
Like romantic poets were good at science. They were just like
I am
they
a
thought
romantic poet.
they threw apples in the air. Like there's
Yeah.
a creativity to science.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there is a creativity to math too, but I don't know. The ACT was for me. The SAT, I literally fell asleep. I also, my mom, I've talked about this before, but my mom thought that I was maybe narcoleptic in high school because I would fall asleep during every test. Like I couldn't stay awake. And I tried to take the SAT, fell asleep. I think I got the score for like writing my name. And then my parents were like, no, that's, you're not going to take that.
I mean, I will say part of why I worked so hard on getting my SAT score was because we did like a practice test when we were sophomores at my high school, and I came in second. And the girl who beat me referred to me by my SAT score for like the rest of the year.
Which
like,
was what?
136. It was because of the PSAT.
Right,
so it was like,
right,
1360. And I was like, I will destroy you.
Wait,
and
hold
so
on.
I had to.
It was 13. It was 1360 because it was the PSATs.
Yeah.
And you were 1386. Wait.
I was 1360.
It was 1360, but then what's the highest score you could get? 1380.
1600?
No, wait, I'm fucking this up. Hold on. 1600, but it's a PSAT. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, they take off the 0 for the PSAT.
Okay, I see
so they
what
just
you're
give
saying.
you
I
like
see
a
what you're
round
saying.
number.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really evil.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was like a prodigy. She was like a year younger than everybody else in my school and very smart. But I was like, I will destroy you, Susan.
And you did.
And I did. Yeah. We're Instagram friends. She has a lovely life, lovely dog.
That's so funny that you guys are Instagram friends now.
Oh, yeah. We're all Instagram friends. We're a small school.
How big was your school?
Like 117, I think, at
Total?
graduation. Oh, just for my grade.
Okay.
But it felt small to me because
Well,
I
that
came
is
from like a
small.
public school.
Yeah, a public school in Texas that was probably huge.
Huge, yeah. Huge.
So then now you're in this all-girls school. Is it uniform?
Yeah. Black watch plaid. You know, like the
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
kind of like
blue navy.
That's kind of hot.
I loved it.
It's very like, did you roll it? Were you
Yes.
like,
Yeah, with the boxers underneath. So you'd be like, I'm rolling it, but you can't see my butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
What
had
kind
a
of
skirt.
boxers?
My dad's.
Really? Would you like steal his underwear
I
and wear
stole
them?
all of his clothes. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he had like old Levi's, old T-shirts. I loved his clothes. I loved his old
great.
sweaters.
Do you still have them?
I have a bunch of his shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I adore his shirts. They're really. He has this one that says Canada or bust.
Was he Canadian?
He went on like a hiking trip through Canada.
Uh-huh.
And it's from like the month I was conceived.
I
So,
love
like,
that.
I love that shirt. Yeah.
Wait, did they have sex on the hiking trip?
He conceived me the night before he left on the trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was
And I
going to
came-
say Canada or bust is kind of funny because it could have been like busting in Canada.
Wow, that's an image I now have. Thank you.
Wait, did you have siblings?
No, just me.
See, that's why you're like so well spoken and unique.
That's how I got that Pulp Fiction screenplay money.
Yeah, I was going to say, see, you are my argument for having one child.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yes.
I'm always telling my friends to stop at one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One and done.
It's great.
Solitary spawn, I call it.
Yeah. Do you have siblings?
Yes. Of course I have siblings. Look at me. I'm sitting here in a lime green dress being like, it's Halloween. I am the baby of my family. There are 3 of us.
Oh, the baby?
I'm the baby. I have a sister and then I have a brother. But my brother, who's your age, he's my half brother. But I call him my brother. I don't even know why I just made it public that he's a half brother because he's not my half brother. He's my whole brother.
Oh, is he cute? Is he fun?
He's cute and fun. And my sister's also cute and fun. We're all so different and all so the same. And it's cool.
That's always been my theory with people with siblings is like you become very individual to differentiate yourself. I don't know if that's true, but that's just my guess.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
But then you meet the freakazoids. Like, and you probably went to school with some of them. I feel like you really would see this in high school where like all of the siblings are all the same. Where
That's
they
so weird.
all like kind of look the same, kind of have the same interests. I do think that there is either you're like our family where we're all kind of different, or you really like follow in the line of your like my brother played football, so then I played football, and then like my brother was good at math, so then I studied really hard at math. Like I feel like that's also a way of things too.
That sounds so constrictive.
I know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I warn people that the one issue with only kids is we don't get to have the dumb fights that I assume people with siblings have,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, that's my doll, give it back, I hate you, and then you're cool in like an hour. Like, we
Yeah.
don't do that at all. We have nobody to fight with casually.
Did you find yourself being lonely in high school?
Definitely at the beginning. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. This is all over the place.
Oh,
This
yeah.
episode's all over the place. But I do need to circle back to you being mute for the
Yeah.
first month of your freshman year.
I was terrified because I thought everybody who went to like a all-girls Catholic school would be like really rich and really snotty. And they did all, for the most part, know each other from first grade from different little schools. It was like kind of, there's so many Catholic schools in San Antonio, Texas. And so like there were maybe 4 or 5 that they had all gone to together and then like grown up together. So everybody already knew everybody when I got there. And I was so scared. Like, I didn't know how to talk to anybody. And
Do you think it's because you're an only child?
I think it's a lot of that. I think that's probably why my parents put me in that school, is because I was very lost in middle school. Like, I didn't know. I was so freaked out about having friends because you don't have anybody to play with when you're a little kid, when you're an only child. So it's like I had to make friends. And I was just like all anxious about it. And I think they were like, you need a hard reset. You know, like, get in uniforms. Don't worry about what you're wearing to school
Be
in the
with all
morning.
girls.
Yeah, like, don't have boys screwing with your head, you know? Just kind of like reboot.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful once I got past the first month. But I remember, like, we had Halloween, you know, that first freshman year, and I was only starting to talk to people then. And I was like, what do I do? I bet it's, you know, I was still in my head that it was a really rich school, which it actually wasn't. I just thought it was because I'd only seen movies about it.
I was going to say, I think like the symbolism of Catholic school in pop culture throughout history has like been rich, bitchy girls.
Exactly, like the Cruel Intentions model.
The Cruel Intentions, or even in like Superstar.
Yeah.
Even in Heathers. I mean, that wasn't a Catholic school. I think that was a public school. But it was still the idea of like a mob of girls being rich and cunty.
That's what I expected.
Yeah.
And I remember making my dad take me to a Halloween costume shop for our first Halloween because we got to wear, you know, an actual outfit to school that was like not our uniform. And I was like, all these rich kids are going to be in the most elaborate costumes. I was really freaked out about it. So I made him rent me this like really expensive, I think I was a genie. Like, you know, like rent me a very expensive Halloween costume so I could compete, you know, with like the other girls at the school. And then everybody was just in pajamas and stuff. And I realized I was the crazy one and that actually everyone was normal and I was the weirdo. Did
they respect you for coming in an elaborate genie costume, or were they like, who is this freak?
I think it helped break the ice.
That's
a
good.
Little bit. Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, look at this personality shining through.
Yeah.
Mute girl is now genie girl, and she's very interesting.
She has a turban. You have to look out.
They were like, she has a turban. And on that note, we're going to go to a little break, and then we are going to be right back. And we're back. So after Halloween your freshman year, then you started making friends.
Yeah, like kind of a bunch of things happened right in that October. Like we were in an English class together, and one of the teachers read my story aloud, which really freaked me out because it was like dark and angry.
What was it about?
We had to adapt a known short story into like our story. We had to like mix them together. And so I picked Call of the Wild and Most Dangerous Game. You know, Call of the Wild's like buddy with a wolf friend. And then Dangerous Game is like hunting men. So I was about the wolf trying to hunt and kill the man.
Ooh.
And it was like very violent at the end. And she read it out loud. And I think that was the first time anybody noticed I existed. And it was a kind of weird way to be noticed. But yeah, that happened. And then one of the really great girls just befriended me right after that. And so like her birthday was in October, so I went to her birthday party. It was the first time I got invited anywhere. And yeah, she became my best friend, one of them throughout the whole time. So
that's so sweet.
Yeah, it meant a lot. Sarah, thank you.
Did you end up, so then after that, did you like have an evolution in high school? Did you go from like being this, you know, quiet, shy girl to them being like a popular girl that ran the halls?
We didn't have popular in a way because we were so small.
And because it's all girls. I feel like even though people assume that all girls everyone that I know that's gone to an all-girls school, my sister went to an all-girls school. I have a lot of friends that went to all-girls schools.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually like kind of dismantled in those environments.
Yeah, it super is. Like there was a clique of girls that we called the Buffies
Mm-hmm.
because you knew they would be the popular girls at another school.
Mm-hmm.
But at our school, they were just the Buffies.
Yeah.
It was just like a cloistered group of, the girls who did have the purses.
Right.
But they were fine. They were like, we didn't really talk to them, but they were fine.
I love that they were called the Buffies. I think that that's such, I don't want to be a Buffy, but like being a Buffy also sounds cool. Being like, I'm a part of the Buffies. Did you have a clique name?
I didn't. I don't think, or maybe we didn't. I didn't know about it. But yeah, we were sort of a weird clique of friends, my kind of group. We were like sort of artsy, sort of jockish. I wasn't the jock, but like all my friends played basketball. So I became the team manager so I could hang out with them.
I was a team manager.
You were?
I was a team manager for boys varsity basketball so I could have sex with them. Very different then. Oh my
God.
Yeah.
That is an in.
Yeah, my boyfriend my senior year was on the boys varsity basketball team. And I managed junior year as well, but we weren't dating then. Then senior year, it was very convenient to travel with them for their little away games,
Oh my God. That is a life hack.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, once I realized that if I just managed boys' sports teams, I could be around boys all the time. I was like, okay. And then I also managed, this was short-lived. My sophomore year, I managed boys' varsity baseball. But then I was like, this is so fucking boring.
Who were better kissers, the baseball guys or the basketball guys?
Okay, well, my hottest boyfriend of all time, to this day, outside of my gorgeous, loving husband, Abe, was a boy my sophomore year of high school. He went to a different school than me. He is so gorgeous. I want to say his whole name. I mean, I could say, I'm saying that he's the most gorgeous man on earth. So Patrick Collins, if you're hearing this, you take the award for my hottest boyfriend ever until I met my now husband.
Was it like blue-eyed?
Blue-eyed, dark hair, gorgeous, was amazing at playing guitar, was like artistic and also played baseball, and he was mysterious and he broke my heart as I would hope he would. And I mean, I didn't hope he would then, but in hindsight, I was like, I can't be perfect. I had to have one gorgeous guy break my heart. And now I think, I think he's like probably doing something really cool somewhere. I'm going to look him up and find out.
Let me know.
I will.
I'm curious.
Yeah, he was really, really gorgeous. And so I managed the boys varsity baseball team my sophomore year. And it just so happened that he played varsity baseball too. And that's how I would see him, because we would go to his school for games. And I would be like, then I love those little baseball uniforms, those little pants.
They are kind of nice, aren't they?
They're hot.
They are kind of hot. I'm a basketball person, but I
basketball's
admire.
so fun.
Yeah.
But the worst outfits.
I kind of liked it when they had the short shorts.
Oh, the short shorts were cute.
Those are so cute.
Love seeing those gams.
But basketball players have the best fashion.
Yes.
Like there's a Instagram account, League Fits, which is like monitors what everybody's wearing as they walk into the locker room. And
gorgeous.
They're styling. Like Russell Westbrook elevated the game and now everybody's like chasing him. And Kyle Kuzma wears like these gigantic like sweaters where the arms go down to his knees.
No, they do have the best style.
Yeah.
I think though, in terms of, I want to see ass when I see athletes play, and ass goes to number one. Ass is baseball players. You see there because they're wearing the tightest pants.
Yeah.
And then number two ass, to not be dismissed, is golfers.
Oh.
Okay?
I've never.
Don't sleep on golfers' asses.
Or do sleep on them if you're invited.
Wait, so since you were at an all-girls school, did you have a boyfriend at all in high school?
Yeah. The way that it worked in my town was there were like 2 major girls' schools and 2 major boys' schools. Mm-hmm. Or 3 major boys' schools. 2 girls' schools, 3 boys' schools. And each one had a different tenor of person you'd date. Like if you were dating a guy from Central, you assumed he'd be kind of preppy, kind of rich. If you were dating a guy who went to Holy Cross, you'd assume he was like maybe a little rougher around the edges, but probably religious and very like mom devoted. If you were dating the guys from my school, which was the minor one that I forgot about even as I was like listing it, their name was St. Anthony, and they were the smallest. They had like 20, 25 in a grade. Whoa. And they used to have to live on campus. Oh. And they were like the artsy weirdo guys.
Love that.
So that was my school. And so like my friends and I dated from this very small pool of men, which was way too small. A lot of hurt feelings by senior year.
Crossover.
So much crossover. So much crossover. But
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? There weren't that many guys to meet. And we had to do all the dating. By which I mean like we had all the dances and they didn't have the dances. So we had to do all the prom inviting, all the semi-formal.
Really? You had to invite them all to prom?
Yeah. I never got to get invited to prom because we had the prom.
Well, that seems unfair.
Kind of was.
And not to be antiquated, but sometimes a lady wants to be asked to prom.
We got a little robbed in that. I mean, I guess if you dated a richer school that had a prom, but my boys didn't. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
So did you have the same boyfriend all of high school?
Oh, no. I really jumped around.
That's good. How many did you have?
Oh, I have a list of everybody I've ever kissed.
Really?
Yes.
Of everyone you've ever kissed?
Yeah.
And what does a kiss entail? Like
lip to lip.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So any lip to lip and...
Is it a novel size?
It was very thorough until I met my boyfriend about 6 years ago. Now it has a very abrupt ending. But and an asterisk, if they were significant.
If they're good or
if we,
continued on.
Yes.
Yeah, move forward from just kissing. That is so funny.
Yeah. But
I'm so impressed by that.
I started it in college because I was like, I will forget this. And there are some early ones where I'm like, guy and cowboy hat at part,
Yeah.
Because I didn't quite remember, but I knew in college that I would want this archaeological record because it's kind of how you see the different stages of your life.
Yeah.
What kind of boys you were into at different periods.
Yeah.
A lot of guys I wouldn't even remember from my 20s if I didn't have this list.
Oh my God, I'm jealous. Like I did write a list of everyone I've ever had sex with.
That's good. Is it a good list? Do you like it?
No. No, I don't like the list. It's far too long. Could have been way more selective. Should have curated harder when I was younger.
But then you might not be the whole magical being that is you. We are shaped by our weirdest experiences as well.
It's funny. I was hanging out with some friends last week and I played a prank on one of them. That I had only ever had sex with condoms. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I've only ever had sex with condoms. I was like, my whole life, I've never not had sex without a condom. I've only had sex with my husband with a condom, blah, 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 blah. And he like really believed it. And then finally I was like, Jeffrey, I've never used a condom in my fucking life. I'm kidding.
I will share too. I didn't lose my virginity till like right after graduation. I lost it that summer.
That's very nice and responsible.
I waited till I was 18, barely legal.
That's really good.
But it was weird because I didn't lose my virginity to any of my boyfriends before because I really believed in that narrative that there was kind of the scared straight narrative where it was like, don't lose your virginity to your boyfriend because then he's just going to like say he never loved you and dump you.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
Yes, of course.
And so
that's, again, not to keep on bringing up movies, but that's also what all that you see in movies is like, if you're too easy in high school, the guy's gonna like think you're a slut after he fucks you. And then you're gonna be just a dirty slut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went hard the other way and I was like, well, fine, I'm going to lose my virginity to somebody I don't care about. And so it was like a much older bassist in a punk band.
Ooh.
And I was like, that's the one.
Yeah. How much older?
7 or 8 years. 8
Okay.
years.
Okay.
8 years. 8 years. 8 years. Yeah. Yeah. And so like I remember feeling so blunt about my needs when I was 18 in a way that I really respect. Like I was like, you're taking me on a road trip. So he drove me to Corpus Christi. It was like, we're staying at a motel. We picked a motel. And then I remember telling him, I don't want to use condoms because I want my first time to feel very natural. Like I want to know exactly what this is.
Wow.
And so then the next morning I made him drive me to a Planned Parenthood in Corpus Christi. And I like went in and I was like, I would like the morning after pill. I just lost my virginity to this gentleman right here.
Wow.
And she was like, I don't think you need it. And she sent me away.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what her theory was on why I didn't need it, but she was like, you're probably fine.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm going to assume that it all worked out okay.
It did. And weirdly, I wound up dating that guy for like half of my first year of college.
Okay. So
it was very sweet. He like would send me letters every week. He would like handwrite them and misspell a bunch of words. And that's when I knew I had to date somebody else. But
that's so funny that you said that, because my mom told me a story of when she was dating some guy also when she was in college. He would send her letters and my mom was like, his grammar was so bad that I had to break up with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Breaking up with someone over bad grammar? But now I'm like, yeah, it's hard.
It was hard. Like he had never gotten to go to college. And so like he was using the wrong there the whole time. And you know, there was a cute guy who lived on my floor who was an astrophysics and film double major and on the swim team. And I was like, well.
And he's using the right there.
And he's using the right there. And he had a big, big, big red afro. So I was like, that's my man. Yeah.
Oh, a big red afro.
It was very cute.
You did not play sports in high school?
No, I've never done anything athletic in my life.
That's fabulous. Did you? I think that's so glamorous and luxurious. Yeah. I think when people are like, I've never played a sport in my entire life. I'm like, I love that. That to me that's like royal, you know?
Exactly.
That's very, why should I unnecessarily exert myself and move my body to prove what?
Yes.
You know? I can sit and read and think. And my athleticism is in my hand from writing and masturbating furiously. That's luxury.
I appreciate that. I was on the golf team for like a month. I just realized I forgot about that, but that's about it.
Again, a luxurious sport. You're kind of walking around, staring at asses, putting a ball.
Have been.
Yeah.
I didn't stare at enough asses when I was on the golf team. It was like me and two other girls.
Girl golf clothes are also just awful.
No. I've been buying a lot of like old Izod golf shorts.
Those are nice.
They're not, because they're kind of pleated and bright colored and they're very high waisted.
Yes.
But, you know, they're also, I realize I look like an elderly tourist from certain angles in them.
Did you like play music or what? Did you do any extracurriculars in high school?
Yeah, we went to see a lot of music because like Sarah, my friend that I mentioned who would like kind of welcome me in, she was just like the coolest person I'd ever met when we met. Like her whole family was musicians. Her family ran like a community center in like the bad part of town, you know, by which I mean like when I would go drive to her house to visit her, we would get pulled over by the cops who would be like, you're in the wrong neighborhood, aren't you? Are you lost? And we'd be like, no, she lives here.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was like that. And so her whole family was just musicians. Her parents were folk musicians. Her brother was a rock musician. She's founded a band when we were like 15. I wasn't in the band, but I was like, you know, taking all their photos and stuff like that. And because of that, like one of the local bars called Tacoland would let her in for free because she had to play shows, and then it would let me in for free because I was her best friend. So it was like
Tacoland.
Yeah. And so it was like a 21 and over place, but we spent all of our high school going there for free because we didn't have to pay a cover. He would just put big X's on our hands.
Right.
I don't know why he did that to us. It was really nice.
So nice.
It was really welcoming, but that's why we all dated older bassists.
I loved
like,
getting the X's on our hands.
They're kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, nothing more embarrassing than being like, I'm little, but it's kind of cute. Yeah.
Now it kind of occurs to me it might have been like older men stay away. They have X's on their hands.
Yeah.
Which we also probably needed. But yeah. But it was a fun, weird place where they'd have like, one time somebody brought a chicken and they tried to have a cockfight there and then everyone got mad at him. But, you know, there was like it was rough and tumble.
Yeah.
The owner wound up dying. He got shot a few years later after we graduated.
God.
Yeah. It was a rough place.
The tragedy of Tacoland.
The tragedy of Tacoland. There's a song about it by, it's either the Dead Milkmen or the Dead Kennedys. I always get it confused. Called Tacoland. Because it was just like where all the grotty bands played.
Wow.
So that was really our thing. We went there
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And like saw all the shows and knew all the nerdy local bands and like hung out with all the older people and just tried to pretend that we were old.
Did you drink?
Not really.
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, San Antonio, if you went to a house party, there was usually somebody's uncle with a margarita machine and they didn't care if you had one.
Right.
But yeah, didn't really drink like a beer here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't really start drinking till college.
Did you smoke?
No, I've never smoked a cigarette. That's like my one.
In your life?
Yeah.
You and my brother and one other person that I know have never smoked a cigarette in their entire life.
Really?
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Well, it's like they tell you if you start before 18, you're going to get addicted. And then I was like, well, then I'll wait till I'm 18. I don't want to
Right.
get addicted.
Right.
And then once I was 18, I knew all these people who were trying to quit. That was part of the magic of having all these older friends is
Right.
like they were, you know, some of them got really rotted out on like meth. And you were like, oh, don't want to do that. So like I saw what happened to them and it scared me straight
Yeah.
as a kid.
I mean, seeing someone rot from meth will scare you straight.
For sure. It's like, oh, she got so skinny. What's happening? It was scary. But I do remember once, like, we moved houses when I was a junior. We moved from like a littler house that we probably should have stayed in to like a bigger house for some weird reason, where it was just the three of us and I was about to leave. But before my parents moved in for real, like I had keys to the house and I invited one of my like older boyfriends and his friend over like one night. And we all just like ran around the house and played the Fugees album really loud and played hide and go seek. And there was no furniture, but they left me one beer. And I remember taking this beer and hiding it inside a perfume box and being like, someday I'm going to have this beer. And then about a year later, looking for the beer and it was gone. And somehow my mother had found it. And I still don't, it's one of those mysteries of my life. Like, was she in my bathroom closet shaking everything? How did she know I had a beer?
That is crazy.
What did she do with the beer? Yeah, very strange.
Wait, is your mom still alive?
Yeah.
You can ask her.
You know, it never occurred to me. I guess I thought I'd get in trouble.
Ask her. Say, Mom, this is really random, but I was on this podcast talking about high school,
Yeah.
and I gotta know, I hid a beer in a perfume box.
It's a Bud Light in like an opium box.
Yeah.
What happened to it?
Yeah. She'll know. You
She'll
think
know.
she's gotta know. I did that with Sparks. Do you remember Sparks?
I do remember Sparks.
I hid a Sparks and I had a hat box in my room.
A hat box? You owned hats?
Well, I went through a phase like when I was in middle school where I was like obsessed with wearing my great grandmother and my grandmother's like fascinators to school.
Oh, that's glamorous.
It was I was very like that girl for a period of time. And I would also wear this like I would wear their vintage dresses and I would wear this like Kelly green pea coat. I remember that I loved.
Oh, we would have been friends.
And
I think I had a Kelly green pea coat.
I loved it. And I did feel very glamorous. And I wore these I had red pumps for some reason.
This is middle school?
Yes. I was like really fashion oriented in middle school. I mean, and throughout high school, but like I was going through my 1950s like glamour. I always
As
joke,
one does when they're 12.
Yes. I always joke that I was like one step away from going full rockabilly at one point in my life. Like I really wanted to get a pinup girl tattooed on my arm and I was like one hair away from being, you know, I mean, Dita Von Teese is not rockabilly, but
she's in the vibe. She's in the family.
in the zone. Like, you know, I don't know.
I mean, it's a good look. Like the dresses, the fit, like rockabilly is cut to a woman's body in a way that fashion hasn't always been historically through our own lives.
Yeah.
So I get the appeal.
Yeah, I was like, I went through one moment where I was like, I want to be Brody Dale. And then I was like, no, that's too extreme. And I don't look good being that punky. And then I was like, rockabilly is a good medium. And then I was like, no. And then I think I just, you know, started wearing low-rise jeans and whatever else.
God, I hear they're coming back and I'm terrified.
They are.
I won't do it.
I won't either.
Good.
I don't want a long torso and short legs.
No, it's so, why do you want to look like what it, remember that old Warner Brothers guy who was like the crazy tooth thing, like the orange square?
Yes,
and he's furry?
yes.
Why do we want to dress like that again? It's terrible.
Ugh, oh my God, wait. Knock, knock, knock? Is that a door knock I hear? Oh, yes, it is. We're in the high school guidance counselor's office.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. I'm your high school guidance counselor. In this section of the show, you get to say fuck you to someone or apologize for something that's haunting you of your high school past.
No.
We get to rectify any wrongdoings of yesteryear of high school lore. Maybe that works. I don't know. But yeah, so you can use this time wisely.
I do have one grudge on a teacher.
Okay.
And I have one teacher I should apologize to.
Let's do both. We love to cure all.
I'll start with the apology.
Okay.
I really loved writing all the time from when I was a little kid. And I thought when I was 15 to be the best writer meant using the most adjectives and the most adverbs and just the biggest sentences forever, which is still a problem I deal with. And I remember my teacher, Miss Eddie, would give me a hard time about it and tell me to read Hemingway and learn how to write with more concision. And I wrote an anonymous note that said, Hemingway sucks, and I slid it under her door.
That is so funny.
So I feel bad about that still, because she was right, and Hemingway's amazing, and I didn't get it.
I do like that, though, because in your like little peanut-sized high school brain, you're like, this is gonna fucking sting her.
I'm gonna show her. Yeah.
Hemingway sucks. Anonymous.
I know. I'm sorry, Miss Eddie. You didn't deserve that. She probably knows me, too. She certainly did, but she never brought it up. And then there's another teacher, that I'm still sort of mad at. I think his name is Mr. O'Connor. And when I was a junior in high school, we decided we were going to start a newspaper. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to start a newspaper. I'm going to be the editor of the newspaper. It's going to be really sick. We had a lot of meetings about it. He was the faculty member who signed on to be like our advisor. Mm-hmm. And we got into 2 really big fights that wound up in me quitting the paper and walking away and never, ever taking part in it.
What?
Yeah.
What were they about?
But the first one started over the name of the paper because, I felt strongly that the paper should be called Opus. I thought it should be sort of like a little big, a little goofy, a little grandiose and unusual. I thought Opus was a cute name. I thought it was sort of cuddly. It reminded me of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I really fought hard for Opus. And he told me to my face that people would laugh at us if we were called Opus. We could never live up to the name Opus. And that instead he thought we should just call our paper The Paper. He thought that was so classy and like understated, The Paper. And I was like, absolutely not. And we took it to the principal office. I was like mad.
And what happened?
He won.
No, and then it was just called The Paper?
It was just called The Paper. And then our first issue, we were getting ready for that. And a big thing had just happened to my school, which is the Boy Scout was talking about St. Anthony's. My senior year, we were going to allow them to start taking classes with us. Not a ton, but like 1 or 2 they could kind of fold in. Mm-hmm. So the boys were going to be on our campus just a little bit. And I was like I was one of the 2 photographers of my school. And so I was like, I know exactly the cover shot. And I got this guy, Apollo, who went to the other school. And I took a picture of him shirtless, wearing our uniform skirt and kind of majestic. It was like a low angle. And he was like, ta-da. And I was like, this is our cover shot. And they were like, absolutely not. You will not have nipples in the paper. And I was like, but it's funny. And it's our uniform. And it's about our story. And it's about buying them.
Yeah.
And they said no. And so I quit.
Well, I would have quit too.
I was like,
clearly this is not a paper. The paper does not value creativity, thinking ahead, being groundbreaking.
Exactly. Pushing the
limits, changing the rules.
Exactly.
You should have just started your own little like gonzo paper.
I should have, because I was really mad. And I'm still mad about it. Like I'm still weirdly very annoyed about this.
Well, I think that something that we talk about a lot about on this show is the feeling of seeing your younger self and seeing them do something really cool and creative and awesome, and then having these like fucking square ass uninspired people completely demolish your little dreams. And there's something about that is really heartbreaking. Because when you're in your adolescence, that's when you're like understanding your taste and your creativity and how to execute things and like, should I? Not everyone is so strong-willed, and I think that sometimes that can really be like, oh, well, now I never have a good idea ever, and I should never even pursue any of my creative passions.
And that's the opposite of what they should be doing.
Yeah.
They should be fostering us.
I know.
And I just really hated rules, you know? Like, I was not like a bad kid, but I hated all of their stupid rules. Like, we had a lot of really stupid rules. And, you know, so in my tiny ways, I would see what I could do with to fuck with them. Like, we had to wear these, we weren't allowed to wear coats inside, which I hated because it was so cold. And we had to only have these like really thin polyester sweaters. And so mine was way too big for me, weirdly. And so I like took the sleeves and like cut them off and kind of cut off the brim, cut off all the elastic and made it kind of like a grungy looking sweater. And they were like, you can't do that. And I was like, it's not in the rule book that I can't do that. And that fight went up to the principal. And I finally got the principal to tell me, technically you are right. This is not in the yearbook. But for the good of the other classmates and to set an example, will you just wear a normal sweater again? And it was her telling me I was right. That was like my turn on. And I was like, great. I just need to know that. And now I will do though. And now I'll wear a normal sweater. But I just needed you to concede the point that I was right.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, they made us get uniform shoes, which I was really upset about because we used to be able to wear Docs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, they're like, you have a choice of saddle shoes or this one pair of like oxblood loafers from Bass. And so I was like, I'll do the oxblood loafers from Bass, but there's no rule that I can't paint them with opalescent nail polish.
Yeah.
So I did that. And I got away with that for a very long time. And then they found out and then they got mad at me. And I was like, you didn't have this in the rule book. And I just ended up wearing them until I graduated because I was just mad and I wasn't going to change. And I was like, what are you going to do? Like, kick me out of school?
No.
Yeah. I'm on the math wall of fame. You can't do that.
I'm on the math wall of fame. What were you on the math wall of fame for?
For my 730.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
my
good.
bad.
Are you still on the math wall of fame?
I should go home and check.
You should.
I should. Be like,
because that's another bone to pick. If they took you off the math wall of fame.
Yes. I should still be up there.
I bet you probably are. Because I think it's really rare to get a perfect score in math, I feel.
Or a 730, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, I do know that my husband got a perfect math score.
Really?
That was it, though. He didn't get anything else perfect on the SAT.
But a perfect
math was,
math.
Yeah.
Does he do mathy things?
No. He was just so good at math.
Wow.
He says that he used to get stoned and then like it was like almost like a meditative, doing math was like so easy and calming for him. Because there's always a right answer, which I see the appeal of math. Because you're like, okay, I know that there's only one option, you know?
Exactly.
So it's not like using your analytical brain as much as it is just being like, I know that there's just one answer, so I just have to find it.
Like a hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. Like, when I went to grad school and I had to take the GRE, I studied very hard for the math because I was like, it's been a long time since I've done math. And I was like cocky about my English because I've been tutoring kids in the SAT for so long.
Yeah.
And I loved studying math again. Like I hadn't studied math in maybe 6 years.
Right.
But to dig back into math felt so great. And then I wound up bombing the English because I didn't practice it at all. I'm like, but
it's hard.
Yeah.
Test taking. It makes me nauseous thinking about it. Tevi, do we have a classmates corner? We do. This is when my listeners get to write in and they get to be guided by us.
Oh, cool.
If you would like me and my fabulous guest to answer one of your quandaries or little bones to pick with your high school past, please email us at seniorsuperlativespod@gmail.com. Tevi, please take it away.
Hi, Greta. Class of 2020 here. I actually discovered your work when I was a senior in high school and have been such a fan ever since. Really love listening to your podcast. This is more of a general question rather than referring to a specific trauma. One of the most important things towards starting to heal from the wounds of high school is realizing that I am much cooler and hotter than the people who were cruel to me in high school, according to my standards of what is cool and hot. How do I not just assume I'm better than other people when feeling insecure, particularly about my ability to connect with certain people, as this doesn't feel like a good way to go about the world? Thanks so much, Emma.
Okay. Well, first of all, thrilled to know high schoolers are engaging with my work. That makes me feel good. Scary to know that you were listening to whatever I was saying when you were like 16 or 17, but we were all doing that. Some of us were reading Pulp Fiction when we were 12. So, well-rounded individuals. What would you say to this freshly graduated, only graduated nearing 3 years ago. So still nubile to the world.
Man, I would say part of what stuck out to me in that question was that this person is worried that maybe they're like I was sensing a little bit of fear of overcorrecting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so scared of being insecure that I will be very secure in how I feel about myself. Or like the idea of, to me, that question was like, am I being a bad person by thinking I'm actually pretty cool?
Yeah.
And in a way, I really respect that self-honesty because I feel, that I'm much older and I still feel like I can fall into that trap too.
Yeah.
Which I think is, there's got to be worse ways to live through the world. But like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than thinking you're good.
Yeah.
I know.
I think there's something great about thinking that you're good. But
Yeah.
then this is something that my boyfriend and I talk about all the time in couples therapy. So I don't know. Like, yeah. As in one way of translating that is like to pump yourself up and make yourself feel so strong that then you don't like to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that is kind of a thing that I feel like I have done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good, I got this, I'm capable, I'm strong, I'm doing the thing. And then I'm not allowing any room for human weakness.
Yeah.
So what I admire about that question is they're already wondering, like, do I need to add more human weakness to my life?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful to be thinking about that already.
I know, it's such a young age.
Yeah, that sounds actually very mature to me, to be wondering how I can be a more well-rounded person.
I would agree. Here's the thing. I also know that I'm hotter and better than all the people that bullied me in high school. And I don't feel shame about that. I also know that everyone's on their own journeys and I can't judge them for, here's the thing. Now, I do feel like a lot of those people recognize how cruel they were. And I think that, to me, it's like a taste, right? It's like, you need to mature a little bit to see this amazing thing in front of you that maybe you didn't appreciate before. So I think that's something that can happen is like these people that were mean to you or these people that you now feel quote unquote better than. You need to know that you have reasons to feel that way because if someone was cruel to you, you need to be like, no, wait, I'm right. I am cool. They are cruel. But eventually, everything kind of balances out. Eventually they'll see, oh, wait, that person that I was a fucking dick to, they were actually really cool. And then you can also be like, oh, that person that was a dick to me, like, they're fine now, And I think that you just have to give it more time to like, balance out. I kind of feel like that's what's happened to me. And now I'm kind of just like peace and blessings to all those who were shitty to me. And you don't have to be anyone's friends, but you also don't need to wish them ill will.
I agree. And I think that balancing out does happen really naturally. Like I was explaining to my boyfriend this weekend that like I'm Facebook friends with this girl who bullied me, sort of bad for like a while in high school. Like she put melted gum on my dashboard windshield.
What a
smeared everywhere.
Bitch.
I know. But like at some point we became Facebook friends and now I like all her statuses and she likes mine and we've never talked about it and I've never seen her again. But sort of like there's a piece to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a piece to it.
Yeah.
I remember watching the movie Almost Famous. And I think that Philip Seymour Hoffman, his character has a line that said, everybody always meets in the middle eventually. Like, and I remember my mom explaining that concept to me. And I think that's a really true statement. Like, I do think that whoever felt so hot and popular at one point in time and whoever felt like a loser at one point in time, there's one place where you'll both be here and you may not know that you're both there, but there will be there is an equalizer at the end of the road. Like the hot, cool cunts of high school don't stay hot, cool cunts forever. The loser freaks in high school end up becoming the hot cunts. The hot cunts end up becoming the loser freaks. And while all this is happening, there's always this. And then it goes like that.
No, that's so true. Like one
Yeah.
of the paintings I have in my house that's hanging over my bed was by a girl that I wasn't friends with in high school. And she, you know, became so cool after graduation. This like amazing artist. And we reconnected when I went back home and I was like, you're the fucking coolest person.
Yeah.
And she became this really great painter and I have it as like a cowboy scene and it's like in my house.
There you go.
And this is actually making me realize I should say, you know that this is a fake tattoo, right? I didn't know if you thought I had a weird tattoo.
No,
Or
I
just
thought it was a real tattoo, but I didn't know it was a fake one.
We had a Halloween party this week and we had an airbrush tattoo station.
It looks cool.
Oh, thank you.
I like it.
I realized I was like, I'm saying I'm from Texas and here I have these
there
cactuses.
it was. I was like the kind of a blown out Texas pride.
Yeah, it'll be gone tomorrow, but I've just been treasuring it.
I think it's cool. I like it. Go get it done.
Thanks, man.
I wish that I could say my tattoos were fake. Unfortunately, they're all too real. If you could go back in time and give your high school self any advice, what would you say?
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. You know, it's weird because I feel very similar to her still. Like we kind of wound up, I don't know, she was interested in the same stuff I was. And I'm really kind of proud of her.
Yeah.
I like her, you know? But I do think that her mistakes wound up working out for her, I think, really well.
Yeah.
You know, like one of them was like, I really wanted to go to New York for college. And then my parents wound up blowing all of my money my senior year and I didn't get to go, which is how I wound up in Oklahoma.
Did you get into college in New York?
I did, but I didn't get a good scholarship. I just got like a tiny bit.
Where did you apply?
NYU.
Oh, cool.
But they gave me like $5,000 and we couldn't afford it on that. So I went to a state school in Oklahoma, but I remember being so miserable at all these different points in my life about not getting the thing that I wanted. And it worked out fine, actually. Like I loved going to Oklahoma, weirdly, and I loved going to this Catholic school, even though I thought I'd hate it. But I wasted a lot of time being grumpy about it.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, chill, man. It's just chill out. I was so stressed.
It's stressful being a teen.
It is. Everything's so big and so life and death. And you're making decisions that you do know will shape your entire future.
Yeah.
Like your entire future is shaped kind of on where you go to college. Not like if you don't go into the best school, but more like you meet your friends and you figure out your path. And
it's a developmental challenge because it's like your first time living alone, on your own, who you're around, the environment. Yeah, being a teenager, I was more stressed out when I was a teenager than I have ever been in my adult life. I mean, maybe because we have more perspective as adults and priorities change and things don't feel as big, but like between schools and worrying about your grades and being in love and having relationships and having friendships, it was also overwhelming.
Yeah. Everything is like the decision of your life. Like, dun, dun, dun.
I know. It really is.
And it's kind of true, I guess, that it is like,
yeah,
because you could make a bad decision that could derail your whole life in high school pretty easily. You know, like,
do you think you can make decisions that derail your life in high school more than you can as an adult?
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's more permanent?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel very dark. Oh God, I'm about to make this dark. I'm so sorry.
I love dark.
Okay, I apologize for how dark this is going to get.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So at one of the malls we used to hang out at, you know, there's like a kind of a clique of us. And like one of them was a guy that I had been sort of dating, but I wasn't at this point. Like we met at a pool hall. And one day when I wasn't there, like an older guy who was just a little bit older, like came up to my group of friends and was like, hey, you want to go smoke some weed or whatever? And this guy that I had known was like, I'll go with you. And like rode in his car and the guy drove him into the woods and like murdered him. And so that really freaked me out in high school. That happened
Well, yeah, that would freak anyone out. That's freaking me out.
Yeah, so like that could happen at like the mall. They met him at a Luby's. It was like, what?
Hold on. So, it was just the boy you were dating?
Yeah, we'd been dating maybe like 6 months earlier, kind of briefly. And you know,
he was the only one that went to go smoke?
Yeah, because most of us didn't really smoke. And the guy was like only 3 years older than us.
Did the guy get caught?
Yeah, right away. But it was it was terrifying. Because, when you have those, did you know anybody who died in high school? We knew a couple people who died.
I knew people that
right
died
away.
in high school, but I knew people that terrible. It was never a murder. I mean, I knew some people that died of drugs, and I knew someone that died in a drunk driving accident.
Yeah,
and
we had one of those.
I think it was drugs and drunk driving.
Yeah. Because you don't know your limits when you're a kid. So I feel like you could really...
I also think that, like, when you're a teenager too, or at least I didn't take seriously certain people's drug use.
Yeah.
Because I, thank God, am not an addict. So I was able to drink and do drugs and be fine. Whereas, like, there really were other kids that were, doing heroin or, like, getting into, like, really serious drugs or doing pills or painkillers or cocaine or whatever, and, like, having it really be a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I ever acknowledged, like, what a real problem that was. So once people started to die or overdose or all this stuff, I remember being really freaked out, being like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, it's a gift being born without an addictive personality.
Thank God. I truly say this. I'm so thankful for that every day.
Me too.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. Because it's just, people make the same choice, but some people it hits harder. And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I just made it so dark.
No, I mean, that's...
It's just, as we were talking about unchangeable choices, I was like, that's just the first thing in my head.
Well, I mean, I was going to think it was like pregnancy, but then murder,
everybody in my school got pregnant, so yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Catholic school? Oh, yeah.
A lot of teen moms?
Like, I remember counting in my yearbook and feeling like it was a quarter of the class, maybe a third.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was there a daycare at your school?
No, you usually just had to leave.
The baby. Oh, you'd leave the school.
Yeah, you couldn't cross the stage. But it was like a lot of people.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, I mean, and now they all have kids going to college. I'm like, oh, and it's like very cute.
So crazy.
Yeah, but it's like really...
Cheryl Hines, when she was on the podcast, was telling a story about how she would just hold the baby. Like, so she was on her softball team, and there was a teammate of hers that had a baby, and her job was to just hold the baby during softball practice.
That's so sweet of her.
I know, but I was like, I at my high school, we didn't have, or at least that I know of, we didn't have, and no one was pregnant in my class.
Really? Ever?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah, I would say within a year of graduation, there were, at least a third were moms.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my other best friend, whose name I will leave out of this story for this reason, but we're kind of a clique of three. She's very smart, like went to like a really great school, like engineering, sciencey kind of person. And she told me when we were in college that she was still technically a virgin because she was only doing it up the butt because she wanted to be a good Catholic. And I had never heard her say something so insane in my life. Because like I knew she was religious, but I didn't know she was like buying into the you're still a virgin if you're doing it up the butt Catholic.
Well, Christ supports anal.
Apparently. And I was like, holy hell, that's amazing. Last person I would have guessed would have said that to me.
Also, to consistently get fucked up the ass.
Yeah.
Hats off.
Hats off. Lots of pants off.
That's
Lots
pants
of stuff
off, hats off, brave. That is a brave woman.
Yeah. Hats off, pants off, lube out.
Yeah. Truly. Relaxing, deep breathing. Did you go to your senior prom?
I did. Yeah.
What did you wear? I have to know. It's my favorite question of the pod.
Yeah, my senior prom, I had my mom actually make me a dress. She made me I think it was like kind of Titanic-y zone. She made me like an empire waist navy blue dress with like little silvery sparkles all over it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and like a little silver ribbon, and I had blue nail polish.
I love that.
Yeah, I really liked that dress.
And did you go with a boyfriend?
I went with just a guy I thought was kind of cool. Like I took him because his mom had been Miss Texas, like before he was born, and I thought that was the funnest fact.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm taking Mr. Son of Miss Texas.
That's really funny.
But he was adorable.
Yeah.
He wore, instead of a boutonniere, he had a pink plastic bunny rabbit, like kind of a bendable legs one.
Cool.
And he had that in his little pocket, and he looked like Pee Wee Herman, basically.
I feel like Texas is filled with freaks. I love Texas. I just some of my best friends are from Texas, and there are so many weirdos in Texas. And no, there are. I mean, yeah, you're a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, there are a lot of people think that Texas is like big blonde hair and whatever. I'm like, Texas is freaky deaky.
They have Texas totally wrong.
Yeah.
I get mad at this all the time in movies about Texas. I'm like, no. They think Texas is like all upright, backwards hicks and stuff. And I'm like, absolutely not. And I don't even think Texas is necessarily that conservative. We're just more like, you do you, I do me. But
I think
conservatives
it's more like
keep
libertarian vibes in Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where they're like, we don't want any rules. Don't tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of insulated growing up in San Antonio because it's super liberal there, more or less, or it felt liberal to me.
I feel like San Antonio is still a liberal pocket in Texas, right?
Very much. It's like, kind of, they're the good Catholics in that they're like, we believe in actual charity work and not just like yelling at people about their sins.
Right.
Yeah. So I respect the community there in Texas. We had like the Castro twins. Like one of them was our mayor,
Yeah.
hot guy,
There you go.
being a young mayor.
There you go.
It's a good town. We got Coach Pop like as our basketball coach. And to me, Pop is a man that I would want to run for president, but he would never run for president. And that's why he would be like the best president.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it's always the ones that would never run that would be the best.
Yeah, because people who run are crazy. Why would you want to do that? That's
narcissistic,
awful.
Crazy people.
Exactly.
But that being said, vote blue. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? I forget. Freaks, Texas. I don't know. I'm talking too much on this podcast. Oh yeah, you want me to wrap it up? Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Last question of the pod. Did you have a senior superlative?
I did.
What was it?
It was weirdly, for being in a school with uniforms, it was most likely to become a fashion designer.
But see, this makes sense because you did the sweater redesign, you did the shoe redesign, you were pushing boundaries, pushing limits. Did you wear makeup in high school? I
like to wear kind of a deep sparkly forest green eyeshadow.
See, that's
or
edgy.
lavender.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was inspired by 50s movies, seeing like Technicolor eyeshadow.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
So beautiful.
And because my clothing budget didn't have to go to practical clothes because of, uniform, I would just buy sequin mini skirts and stuff and wear them to our dances. All my clothes were stupid. Like
so fun.
They're story or really glittery. Yeah.
I love that.
I respect it. Although I shouldn't have won that. This girl Maricela should have won it. She became a jewelry designer. So I could preemptive or postemptively
you're gonna
give it to Maricela.
Yeah, you're gonna give it.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess that you were gonna get like smartest.
Oh, Susan Curry definitely got that. Yeah.
Bitch.
Oh, love her. Great dog. Great dog.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Oh, this has been my pleasure. Such a fun conversation.
Yeah, it's been so much fun chatting with you. Yes. Where can all of my podcast listeners listen to you?
Yeah, I run a movie podcast with Paul Scheer, the comedian from
fun.
How Did This Get Made in like a million different things. It's called Unspooled. And we are on a quest to find the greatest 100 movies ever made and then blast them off into space. We started with the AFI Top 100, and then we got rid of like 60 of them because it's a bunch of cowboy movies, war movies, bunch of just dudes from the 70s voting their friends onto the list. Like, fuck all that. So now we're rebuilding from the bottom.
I love that.
It's been very, very fun. And Paul's like just the smartest, most curious guy.
I love Paul.
And we're weirdly going to do Austin Powers.
My favorite movie.
So I have to go home and watch Austin Powers today.
It's actually like truly, that is a movie that comedically has imprinted on me deeply. That and Mars Attacks. Two movies that like really, really, really impacted me. I mean, every day I literally say spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch when I like leave the house. And Abe is always like, can you please stop saying that? I say baby, the other white meat all the time. I say groovy. I say, ooh, white flint. I mean, I say like, I quote Austin Powers all the time.
Oh my God. Do you, every time you drive by Randy's Donut, go, the international symbol of the donut from Mars Attacks?
I should.
It's so good. We saw Danny Elfman at the Bowl this weekend and he played a little Mars Attacks set.
And it was amazing. Is Mars Attacks on your list?
We haven't done it yet. We actually haven't done a Burton yet. We're very behind on our Burtons.
Very behind.
We are.
Yeah, because, prolific filmmaker.
Prolific. Although, it's going to come down probably to like Beetlejuice.
I was going to say Beetlejuice.
Or Edward Scissorhands. both are beautiful, and I
Gorgeous.
love them both so much.
That's a toss-up.
I know. I don't know what I'd pick. But did you know Danny Elfman's ripped as hell?
No, but I weirdly just auditioned for something that he's doing, and I just saw his name, and I got so excited that I didn't even read what it was. I was just like, Danny Elfman! And anyway, yeah.
He's marvelous. Ripped, tatted, very cool.
Love that.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm fucking Danny Elfman. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to my podcast. Such a pleasure to chat with all of my guests and to have you listen. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please subscribe. Please give me 5 stars, only positive reviews. I only like positivity in my life. And I love you all. And until next week, stay cool, never change. Bye.
That was a Headgum podcast.